Hey everybody, we'll get started here in just a moment. As always, we'll do a quick audio and visual check. Also, if you go ahead and refresh your web browser, you should be able to rewind the live stream. I just enabled the DVR. But again, apologies for being late, everybody. I know it's really late. It's just been another busy day at the office. Nothing really I could do about that. So I guess better late than never, and I really do appreciate all of you joining. So we'll get started here in just a moment. Thanks so much. Okay, everybody, I think we can go ahead and get started here. Let me just clip on the microphone, and we should be good to go. So good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Walks and Wall Street. Today is Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. It's about 10:18 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are reporting live yet again from Central Park South and Fifth Avenue. Now, the beautiful building we have directly in front of us is the famous Plaza Hotel. If we continue to turn the camera a little bit further upwards, that very, very skinny building is 111 West 57th Street. That is the Steinway Tower. As always, that is the skinniest residential apartment building in the entire world. I'm sitting right outside of the GM building, but if we turn the camera to the right, you'll see the flagship Apple store here on Fifth Avenue, and, wait for it, here we have the Sherry Netherland Hotel, which has all the scaffolding encompassing the spire. We always talk about reminiscences of a stock operator, and then the building just off to our right is the GM building. Now, what's interesting, and I think we're going to talk about this in a different live stream, but I want you to look directly across the park. You're starting to see the structure appear. This was never here before. This is yet another Xtel development. So oftentimes we talk about the developer Xtel, CEO and founder Gary Burnett, who did 157 West 57th Street, Central Park Tower. They've also done One Manhattan Square, and now they're building this one. So maybe a little bit later, if we can start the stream on time, we'll take a little bit of a walk over to the Upper West Side of Manhattan and check out one of those new developments. Now, with that being said, we do have to shift gears back to the markets, because tomorrow, Wednesday, June 12th, is going to be a pretty action-packed and busy day. Now, for a few reasons. Starting right as the market opens at 8:30, yes, you guessed it, we are going to get the Consumer Price Index out, or the CPI number. That is for May. The median forecast on a month-over-month change is going to be right around 0.1%, but the CPI year-over-year change is forecasted to come in at 3.4%. Now, as always, if you type !CPI in the chat, the Nightbot is going to drop the link to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it's going to drop that very helpful infographic for you. So if you see where the Nightbot drops that link, if you want to follow along tonight on the live stream, You can go ahead and click that, and it's going to bring you to the 12-month percentage change for the Consumer Price Index. Now, you're going to see something that looks like this, and I think it's important to review it because we're going to get the May number out tomorrow. Let me actually go ahead and zoom in here a little bit more. Now, as you can see, the headline number of CPI topped out at about 9.1% in June of 2022. And we've come all the way back down 1 year later to 3% inflation. But we haven't really gone much below that. We've been huddling around 3%, 3.7%, back down to 3.1%, up to 3.5%, and now back down to 3.4%. And tomorrow, the headline number is, yes, you guessed it, expected to come in yet again for May at 3.4%. Now, if you deselect all these specific categories, you can then select each individual subcategory that makes up for CPI. You have food at home, you have energy, electricity, apparel, medical care, shelter, commodities, food. Whoa. What was that? You guessed it. And I just wanted to point out one more thing in terms of inflation that is very, very important, which is really one of the main categories that's keeping inflation so elevated. So if you go to this page and deselect every category except shelter costs, this is really what's being a little bit pesky here for us, is shelter costs. Now remember, I said that in June of 2022, I want to try to select both of these. All right, I guess it won't let us, but you could do it on yours. You'll see that shelter is lagging significantly. So as the headline number in CPI rolled over quite materially, shelter has not so much. Shelter has been a little bit pesky, staying elevated. So housing, if we want to see the headline number come down, you're really going to need to see shelter come down, which I think you'll see slowly but surely. Last but not least, another big thing that we need to watch and talk about for tomorrow is the FOMC meeting. We have the Federal Open Market Committee meeting where Fed Chair Jerome Powell is not only going to give a speech, but he is going to set the pace of monetary policy. So if you type !CME in the chat, !CME in the chat, the Nightbot is going to bring you to another helpful resource. It's going to be the CME Fed Watch Tool. It's going to give you the countdown clock to the next FOMC meeting, which is in 15 hours, 35 minutes, 45 seconds. But it's also going to give you the Fed futures. There's about a 98% likelihood there's going to be no interest rate change for tomorrow. Now, looking all the way out into 2025, the first FOMC meeting of the year, which is going to be January 29th of 2025, there is a 37% likelihood we'll probably have at least 2 rate cuts by then. I still think that's a little bit aggressive, particularly if inflation comes in hotter than expected tomorrow. I think we're going to stay in this environment for, higher for longer as it relates to interest rates. Speaking of interest rates, I just wanted to remind everybody I sent out our free investing newsletter called Behind the Street. And on Thursday, I did something a little bit different because everybody's talking about, interest rates have been elevated for so long. Well, they really haven't. And I think what got us into this mess in terms of, having a lot of this unrealized losses on bank balance sheets that you're seeing in the news now, as well as this massive wealth divide in America, it's been ZIRP, which is zero interest rate policy that was enacted by the Federal Reserve to help bring the United States out of the 2008 financial crisis. So if you want to read our latest article that we wrote, it's free. Head over to our Substack by scanning the QR code on your screen or typing !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, and the Nightbot will drop the link to that article. Now, what's interesting is we also did a little bit of a comparison of who are the people in the United States that own the majority of equities and who own the majority of real estate. Well, the top 10% of Americans own about 90% or over 90% of all of the assets, both equities and real estate. So if you look at wages, right, and you look at inflation, wages are just barely keeping up with inflation, but the wealthy, or the top 10% of Americans, have actually done really well, and they're not really being fazed by inflation because the assets in which they own are also being quote unquote inflated. So it's much easier to deal with inflation should you have high exposure to assets that are also going up in value. I think that's really all I got, everybody. Market's kind of muted. Bitcoin had a little bit of a down day, trying to start to rally back. 67,000 on Bitcoin. Gold, look at gold futures, still holding above $2,300. I think we're probably going to have pretty big moves in gold, silver, platinum, palladium across the board, and Bitcoin for tomorrow as we head into that inflation print. Futures, I know this is kind of going on a long intro, but it's a big day tomorrow. So if you look at the S&P 500 E-mini futures contract, ticker symbol ES, we're printing at a new all-time record high right now, 5,385. The Dow 30, or the YM, we're down about 13 points, 38,781 for the Dow. And for the NASDAQ 100, that very high beta tech index is printing at yet a new record high, never before seen before, 19,256 for the NASDAQ 100. God bless America. Let me go ahead and close up the laptop. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat and we'll get started. Thanks, everybody. All right, let's see who we got. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit. Let me get the QR code out of the way for all of you. I see Cape Cod Sarah, what's up? New England Crypto, good to see you, my friend. Austin City Limits, I see Alan, I see Mohammed. Zozo Bob, Bree Grams, what's going on? Carl Roths, hey Tom, here in Canada, interest rates dropped last week. Yeah, it looks like the Canadians are... Now, it's interesting because, to Carl's point, usually central banks around the world follow the lead of the United States, which would, our central bank is the Federal Reserve. So we'll see. Did anybody, not to segue too much, but it does have to do with Canada. Apparently there's a really massive housing crisis in Canada, right, in terms of affordability. I'm not too caught up and educated on it, but I saw a post or a tweet of Canada, Justin Trudeau, about how he's passing legislations to allow developers to build more fourplexes. Anybody have any thoughts on that? No, I guess it seems like a step in the right direction. Again, I'm not too keen and well read up on, you know, the zoning regulations and laws in Canada. It's a pretty big country, but maybe that's one thing to help address the problem. You know, more supply, more units. Who knows? Maybe Carl Roth, you've heard anything about that? Peter's here, Hal T, Hawaii, the one and only. Thanks so much for joining. Western Mass Dave, what's up, Dave? Good to see you. I love this shot of Billionaire's Row right here. So classic. This is the front of the Plaza Hotel. Now this is Grand Army Plaza. Oftentimes we could take it for granted. We walk past it all the time. It appears that there's going to be some heavy construction here, which I'm excited about because you may be surprised to hear this, but, and this is opinionated, by the way. This isn't based in data. This is just from what I've been seeing living in New York forever. Right here at the plaza, right outside the Plaza Hotel, I should say, has the highest concentration of rats and rodents I've ever seen. So maybe with this new renovation, maybe the rats will migrate somewhere else. We'll check out and see the completion date over there, but first, I want to give you one more shot of the very front of the Plaza Hotel with those beautiful stained glass windows. Joshua O is here. Melissa 2087. Welcome, welcome. New England Crypto. This is extremely valuable information. Yeah, I mean, another thing that's a good resource, and the good thing is all of this stuff is free. You don't have to pay for anything. I would go to MarketWatch. If you just Google MarketWatch U.S. Economic Calendar, you could print it out every week. Sunday night, go to marketwatch.com, head over to the drop down where it says Economic Calendar, and it tells you line item by line item down to the exact hour when a lot of this economic data is coming out. Just print it out, put it on your desk, and you'll be in the know. All right, so Grand Army Plaza South. Let's see, I don't think they have a completion date, but the project will include utility and infrastructure improvements, pavement repair, new plantings, upgraded site furnishings. Interesting. Well, I'm for it. Looks pretty good. This is a view of 432 Park Avenue, and then you see Trump Tower off to the right. Fall of 2025. Thank you so much. Type username. We'll see. Hopefully they'll get it done. We might as well walk down Central Park South again, since it's late. Peter says the renovation will cause them to run over into other areas, probably. But yeah, for whatever reason, that little section there has so many rats. So many rats. I don't get it. Koroth's Tom housing starts are up here. Lots of new condos are now available. Investors are trying to sell now. Yeah, I mean, if we just bring it back to the basics, and that's why, you know, I feel like a lot of times it can come off as if I'm dumping on New York. There's all major cities, generally speaking, in the U.S. Have an affordability crisis. Now, granted, it's expensive generally, and I think we'd all agree, where people want to live, right? And where there's a lot of opportunity and job growth. So where you have a lot of good jobs, a lot of good infrastructure, ample access to public transportation and educational infrastructure, with like good public schools, good private schools, there's always going to be very, very high demand, and things are going to be very expensive. So a city like New York City is never going to be inexpensive to live. It's always going to be expensive, in my view. Even if you start to build like crazy, there's just an overwhelming amount of demand for people to live here. Now, I think you can make a little dent in the prices and bring the rents down a little bit. But by and large, if we're being honest, if you think about the greatest cities in America, big cities in America, New York, Boston, San Francisco, you know, Miami, LA, it's expensive. It's relatively expensive. So, hey, MD, good to see you. Trust you're well. It was raining a little bit earlier. If you're looking for kind of a middle of the pack hotel to stay in right on Central Park South, the Park Lane Hotel is actually quite nice. And they completed a full gut renovation during the pandemic. So this building was actually closed during the pandemic, and they've done a full renovation here. And it's not going to be as expensive as the Ritz-Carlton. It's not going to be as expensive as the Trump International Hotel and Tower. It's not going to be as expensive as the Essex House, which we're going to walk past here in a minute. But it's a decent hotel, and you're centered pretty much perfectly on the park, 1 block away from the Plaza Hotel, which is great. NAV407, what's up? Trust you're preparing for the big inflation day tomorrow. Going to be the busiest day of the week. 8:30 a.m. on the dot, we get CPI released. On the same day, we're going to hear from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. This is 50 Central Park South. This is the Ritz-Carlton Hotel and Residences. So the hotel entrance is right here, but where you see the 50, this is where the residences go in. So if you own something in the building, which you get access to all the amenities of the Ritz-Carlton, you'd go in door number 2, door number 1 with this awning, which is really nice. You can't really see it because of the scaffolding. That is the hotel. Hey, Jonathan Richards. This is Hey Tom, hope you're doing well. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. It's been busy, busier than expected, but as always, busy is good. Here's another really, really unique shot of the Steinway Tower, Stairway to Heaven building, 111 West 57th Street. And right in front of it is 106 Central Park South. This is called Trump Park. Now there's actually 2 buildings. It's Trump Park and then Trump Park East. Both are really nice. They're a little bit older on the inside, so your common charges are going to be a little bit higher, but and this is an awesome view looking all the way down 6th Avenue. If you look closely, you can see Radio City Music Hall and the very, very top of 53 West 53rd Street. Samantha Smith says, Tom, you recently did a live stream in Miami. We did. Were you just visiting there and you live in New York? I live both places. So whenever we have business to take care of in Miami, we will make our way over to the 305, and then we'll come back to the greatest city on earth, right here in New York. Yeah, so check out some of these, check out some of the listings here at 100 Central Park South at Trump Park. I will give you a little bit of an insight. There's a few listings that sellers are right about ready to fire sale here. So if you look at the list price, I won't say which exact unit, but it may be this one right here. I won't give the exact floor, but I think if you want to make a deal, you could probably make a pretty good deal. They're beautiful units, really, really beautiful units, and you get a front row view of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade every year. I mean, think about that, because, you know, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade comes down Central Park West. It goes around Columbus Circle where you see the Deutsche Bank towers. It comes right down here, literally, the parade, and then the parade bangs a right on 6th Avenue. So if you have a Central Park facing unit right here, you don't have to watch the TV. You could literally just pull up a chair outside of your window and observe Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I think that's another selling point about Central Park South, particularly if you have a Central Park view. For the most part, the further west you go, you'll have a front row view of the parade, which is cool. UniJ23, thanks so much for joining us. Troy Atman says, Tom, did you see Elon Musk's tweet? His dream is to reach Uranus. I saw another. I don't think I've seen that tweet. Or maybe I have. I saw the tweet where Elon Musk was flipping out about the new Apple iOS update. So I'm sure everybody was watching the Apple event. The new version of iOS came out, and they have a partnership with Microsoft and OpenAI. And if you haven't noticed, Elon Musk doesn't really like OpenAI. Silver Mine says, do you like T+1? I do like T+1. I think over time it'll probably be instant settlement. This is the Hampshire House. So this is the new steakhouse that just opened, right in the Essex House. So hopefully once this scaffolding comes down, we'll be able to see a little bit better view. But inside the JW Marriott Essex House, they have a brand new steakhouse, which has this beautiful Art Deco vibe in there. That's that new Extel building just off to the right. This morning, our team did we did a preview of Thompson plus Spring. That's a really, really cool new development that just went up. It's only 7 units. But it's really, really quite nice. If you like that area, kind of on the border of Soho, Tribeca. Common charges are a bit high, but it's really nice if you want to take a look at it. I think it's 83 Thompson Street. I believe that's the address. The building is called Thompson plus Spring. This building is 220 Central Park South. This is a co-op, and currently this co-op is doing major construction on the roundabout here where the valet is. This is a nice building too, and pretty soon this is going to be finished. And this is the one and only New York Athletic Club right here.
And the best part is that you weren't even really participating in that conversation. It was really just
Hey, Western Mass Daves, you saw that, Tom? Nice group photo, yeah. It's fun when we do things together as a team. Very seldom do we do it. We try to go to like a big preview of a building. If we have clients or something like that, we'll get the inside scoop. But it was nice. I like that area. I like being in Soho, particularly during the day. Dock 7 says Vornado. Well, speaking of Vornado, we're about to pass one of the most sought after buildings in the world, 220 Central Park South. Now, sometimes, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day about, if you get an apartment right along Central Park, sometimes the higher the floor isn't always better. So what I mean by that, as we're looking at this beautiful American flag here, a lot of times you'll have these huge, super tall skyscrapers, right? Like Central Park Tower, 157, 432 Park Avenue. But if you look at the triplex, right, that sits atop of Central Park Tower, when you sit down, like let's say if you're in your living room on top of the triplex at Central Park Tower, when you sit down you can't see anything, like your view is just the sky. Does that make sense? Oftentimes it's kind of good to be at least a little bit in the middle or just above the tree line of Central Park, so your views are of other buildings. It's not like you're right next to them, but you could see the other buildings, you could look at the architecture, you could see out over Central Park, you could see to the river. But if you go way too high up, as you're sitting or you're standing, it's an interesting experience. It's just like you're looking at sky all the time. It's similar to when I was looking at a unit for one of my clients in Sunny Isles Beach at the Turnberry Ocean Club and Residences. I actually prefer the units on the lower floors at the Turnberry, in my opinion. Because on the lower floors, let's say for example the 7th floor, you're standing in your kitchen, and when you look out your window, you see the ocean. You could actually see the horizon. But if you're on like the 30th floor, and you're standing in your kitchen, you look out, you just see blue. You just see the sky. It's like a weird type of experience. So sometimes being the highest up isn't necessarily the best. I don't know, would you guys agree, disagree? I was just having a conversation with a good friend of mine. I feel as if I'd want to be somewhere in the middle, where I'm high enough up off the ground, where I don't feel like I'm scraping the floor, and I can have a view of the canopy of Central Park. VC Motors, what's going on? It says hello to you. Lori C, what's up? Doc 7, Esmeralda, this is if you get an apartment along Central Park. Yeah, right? Jeez. MG, this is a good point, never thought about it that way. Yeah, and I only really realized it when I was at that Turnberry Ocean Club on one of the high floors. I think it's better to be a little bit lower, not super low to the ground, but lower. Dario says agree, up to floor 10. Yeah, a good test is if you're touring one of these apartments or one of these condos and assuming the unit is fully staged, which means they have furniture in there, do the sit down test. Sit down on the furniture, make yourself comfortable, and then look out the window. And you'll be like, oh yeah, when I'm standing up the view, I can look down on everything. But when I'm sitting, it's almost like you're in a green screen. It's kind of interesting, but in any event, that's why I really like this building. 1 Central Park West. Because the building is actually not all that tall. It's really, really not. So if you're at one of the highest floors at 1 Central Park West, you can see all of Central Park, right? You have this beautiful, lush, green canopy of the trees. You could see all the way to the Upper East Side. But if you look to your right, you could see every single individual building on Billionaire's Row. It's the most incredible view ever. So if you have the opportunity to either buy a unit, rent a unit, or stay in the hotel at 1 Central Park West, ask them if you can get a view of Central Park, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's really, really special to be able to see Central Park Tower, 220 Central Park West, 157 Steinway, and 432 Park. It's very, very cool. Hey, Krog Dog, good to see you. Peter says, how high up do you need to be to mitigate the noise? It really depends. A lot of developers now are spending a lot of money on the windows, whether either they're double pane, and in some instances, if they're building on a really, really busy street, like down in the Village, they'll even probably throw in triple pane glass. So I would say it really depends on a few things. Yes, it depends on how high up you are, but it also depends on the quality of the building and the quality of the windows, I'd say. Hey, Brad's Brain, what's up? You ready for Fed Chair Jerome Powell tomorrow? Hey, Nicholas says, hey Tom, I just got back from my 2-month vacation in New York City and Florida. It was absolutely amazing. I stayed at the Hilton Club on 6th Avenue with Central Park view, absolutely amazing. Ah, very nice. So that's the flagship, right? Nicholas, that's the flagship Hilton, I believe. you're talking about, which is just north, what is it, like 3 or 4 blocks north of Radio City, adjacent to Newburgh Berman, things like that. Cool. So as you know, this is 1 Central Park West. There's 3 distinct doors. Door number 1 right here is the residences. So if you own a condo or you rent, you would go inside door number 1. The middle door right here, that's the hotel. So if you're staying at the hotel, you would go straight in here. And door number 3, which is right here, is the Michelin star restaurant Jean Georges. And they now have a location in the Seaport. And hopefully, if I can get out of work at a reasonable hour, we will be starting our live stream near Fulton Street, and we'll be checking out the South Street Seaport, one of my favorite new condos, or relatively new condos, which is 130 William, which is just an architectural beauty, that building. Speaking of really good architecture, the building that we're looking at right now is 15 Central Park West. Now, this building, you could really use my example of getting a unit that's just right at the tree line. It's unreal. So if you have, a full floor unit here or in the second one, I think if you're gonna buy at 15 Central Park West, don't get in the West Tower. I would say you want to be a little bit closer, preferably with the balcony, and you want to sit directly just right on the tree line of Central Park, because you're going to get all of Central Park, but you also get everything on Billionaire's Row looking out to the Upper East Side, which is really cool. Really, really cool. And when there's no leaves on the trees, you could actually see all the way to the ice skating rink, which used to be called the Trump Rink. I don't know what it's called now. And this is Central Park West. So this street right here, if we continue to walk all the way up, this will take us to 110th Street Cathedral Parkway. So Central Park, right, if you want to think about the entirety of the beauty of Central Park, it runs from Central Park South, which is 59th Street, in between 5th Avenue and Central Park West, and it goes all the way up to 110th Street Cathedral Parkway. Now, if you walk up to 72nd Street and you look off to your left, you're going to see probably one of the most iconic buildings, not only in New York City, but arguably the world, and that is the Dakota. And that is where, well, we all know what happened there. It's right across the street from Central Park. How am I blanking on the name of this? Strawberry Fields. There we go. Hey, Joe E. Says, good evening, Tom and team. South Street Seaport and Sutton Place are 2 nice picks. Very nice picks. We definitely got to get down to South Street Seaport now that the weather's beautiful. There's going to be a lot of people down there. We'll check out the Tin Building. You see great views overlooking Dumbo, Brooklyn. It's really nice. Sabrina Fair, Abdullah, good to see you. We'll see if the gates are open. Maybe we'll have enough time to check out Lincoln Center. We'll see. This is the New York Institute of Technology. Oh, it's only 68 degrees out according to that thing. Meld says the Lincoln Center fountain. I don't think they have the fountain up now. It's that disco ball. You'll see it because we were here briefly last time. And they're going to do the same exact activity as they did last year. It's like this big roller rink / disco arena. It's weird. You can see the Empire Hotel. Wow, ICU Investigations. So I saw John and Yoko often when I worked in New York City. That's insane. What an experience that must have been. I think Yoko Ono still lives there. West 63rd Street and Broadway. You have the Smith Restaurant. Very conveniently located right at Lincoln Center. Yeah, you know what? They do have the fountain, but it's hidden amongst all that stage, kind of like the lights. JP, this is hello from Rio. What's up, JP? Thanks for joining us. PJ Clark's is pretty packed. You can see that big disco ball in the middle. All right, we have the light. We're officially now heading into Lincoln Center. I hear the fountain. This is Lincoln Center Summer for the City. It says join the party. Wow, what do you guys think? It's cool, right? It's this huge disco ball suspended above the fountain. Now, way back in the day, and I'm talking, I think I went here in 2018, 2019. They used to have just rows and rows of folding chairs out here, and they had this big screen, and you could watch some of the operas. It was really, really nice. Hopefully they'll do that again this year, but all right, let's make this left, and we'll explore a little bit more in and around Lincoln Center. Here they kind of have it all blocked off. You have to go through this main entrance here. They probably have like a security clearance entrance. This is a cool view. Hey, Mark Francis, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Fountain smells really, really good. Just beautiful, Lincoln Center. It's a really, really beautiful place. Hey, what's up, Deborah? I see Ivan is here. I think this is some new art that's hung up here too. Right at the box office. Wow, look at the chandelier in there. What do you guys think? Hey, Theo. My God. Theo, guess what I have with me, my friend? I have my favorite book of all time, Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, forward by Paul Tudor Jones. Thank you, Theo. Appreciate you. I'm about halfway through it. I must have read this book like 20 times, but this is my favorite copy. So thank you for your very kind gift. And your book too. I'm excited to read your book. If anybody doesn't know, Theo in the chat here is an author of 2 books. Really, really good books, by the way, so check it out. If you go to my Twitter profile, or X, @WalksWallStreet, you can check them out. I believe the title is The Balance of Hustle and Flow. Very good. And I really, really do appreciate that, by the way. I got a package right on my desk once I came back from Miami. Favorite book right here. So, thank you again. All right, I want to see if I could take you all up on the grass space here. I'm not sure if they closed it off for the night. But you have the New York Public Library all the way to the back. Look at how cool this is. So this is overlooking the Juilliard School of Music. They have these chairs out where you can hang out. This looks like a bowl. This little sculpture here. If the grass area is open, we'll go ahead and walk to the top. I think it may be closed for the night. No, I think we're good. Yeah, so we'll head up on the grass. Oh no, there it is roped off for the night. But during the day, if you come here, you can go up on this grass area, and it's really nice. We'll talk about this building tomorrow because I actually want to do a full walking tour around the perimeter. But this building right here is going to be the hottest new building in New York, in my view. This is an Extel development. It's going to be really, really beautiful condos overlooking Central Park West. And it's the same developer as this one right here. Central Park Tower 157. Really cool. I think it's almost topped out. Almost topped out. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. And click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams pretty much every day. Try to start at 8:45. It's been a little busy, so we've been starting rather late. But I'll take you, since we never really come over here, I'll take you over the walking bridge here to the Juilliard School of Music. Now, that big kind of cube that you see in the distance is Martin Luther King High School. I like the design that they put on the floor here too. This is looking towards the Hudson River. And this is looking towards Central Park. It's kind of cool to see all the different advertisements for the shows, the operas, the music. Let's see how far we can go. Man, this is a really nice place just to kind of sit down, grab a cup of coffee, read the paper, have a pretty good view of Billionaire's Row. It's nice up here. It's just a good place to read, hang out. Here's one of the entrances to Juilliard. Very cool. It's really crazy to think just how big New York City is. Like, you could quite literally walk around for hours and hours and days and just see new stuff all the time. Let's walk back here and see what's back through this way. It says Film at Lincoln Center. Maybe this is where the students do performances or something. Maybe like a box office. Walter Reed Theater. Anybody familiar with any of these? These look cool. Ticket prices. $12 for the new release matinee. Hey, Doc 7. Yeah, good luck tomorrow. It'll definitely be a busy broadcast. We're going to talk about the inflation data we're going to get out, CPI data, and the FOMC meeting. Will all be taking place tomorrow. All right, let's cross back over. I feel like Lincoln Center is pretty busy tonight. I'm seeing a bunch of people walk around in the buildings. Maybe there's some big gala going on, fundraiser, something. Yeah, Scott, the NYPL library is right here. You just walk straight down here and then make a right. I used to go to that one during my college days quite often. But then I started going to the new New York Public Library that's adjacent the Stephen Schwarzman building because they have free Bloomberg terminals. So if you go to the 5th floor, which is the International Business Center, you have access to pretty much unlimited access to the terminals. You just can't download data, which is understandable. But you can do anything you want. You just can't download or export data. Looks like there's some big play, something going on. Oh wow, PL 830, this is when it first opened. It was the Technology and Business Library. I didn't know that. Here's the disco ball one more time. see the people up in the balconies. What do you guys think of the setup this summer for Lincoln Center? Thumbs up, thumbs down? What do you think? I think they did a pretty good job this year. I like how they managed to leave the fountain up at least. Although I like when the fountain is totally in operation. Because the fountain, if you remember, used to shoot water like 10 or 15 feet in the air. Should we jump in this cab? Why does Tom eat at Rosa Mexicano sometime? It's right across the street from Lincoln Center? Really? Let me see. You mean right across the street this way? I have to check it out. Oh, Dario. Rosetta is right here. I'll show it to you. This is actually a pretty good place. It has like Italian pastries here. I've been here too. It's not bad. They have a nice outdoor dining setup. Obviously, they put it away now, but yeah, this Rosetta place. I've been here a lot, multiple times. It's good. Nice bakery. You can't really see anything here, but they usually have all the pastries laid out. This is a good place. They have good espresso here too. Fresh bread. And right here they have all tables and chairs set up during the day. Yeah, this is a good spot. G&S is in college. I heard so much about Lincoln Center. So it was nice to see, thanks. Yeah, no worries. I love Lincoln Center. These are some of the restaurants here. Cafes. This is Barbalud, which is pretty good. Cafe Fiorello. I've been here. It's like an Italian place. It's all right. I like the style of the inside. You have like these two bars here. The bar's beautiful. What do you guys think? They have two bar setups. And then right next to Cafe Fiorello, you have the Smith. And you can see all of the kind of the glasses open because it's finally nice out. I'll give you one more look from this side. So you have full indoor-outdoor dining. It's cool. Hey, Solo 401, you'll be back during Halloween. That's a fun time to come back to the city. I don't think I've ever taken you guys for a walk the back way. This will take you to the valet parking of this building that has this really unique chandelier. But like I said, the further you go up into the Upper East Side, or excuse me, the Upper West Side, the quieter it gets at night. Like this is quite nice. You have this fountain here, a lot of greenery. It's relaxing, it's cool. Beautiful lobby. Look at this chandelier. And this is the valet. Beautiful, beautiful entrance. Isn't that something? It's beautiful. Imagine taking a cab, getting dropped off right here, going up to your apartment. It's really stunning. Now, oftentimes I haven't really noticed this chandelier here. Up until recently, I'd probably say about a month ago. And then, boom, here we are, 15 Central Park West. Hey, Tony, what's up? As I walked from Wall Street to the Lower East Side today, you were right about being able to walk around for hours. Dude, today was a really nice day, so the Lower East Side must have been rocking. Since we're a little bit further back, you can see a little bit of the top of 432 Park Avenue. And here we have it again. 157 and Steinway. Wow, Theo says you met Robin Williams there. Crazy. That must have been a wild experience. Yeah, Solo 401 says you don't realize how fast you accumulate miles. Yeah, it's like if you go running or something like that in the suburbs, you feel like it's a grind. You feel like, oh my God, I've been walking and running for so long. If you go for a run around New York City, you could easily bang out a half marathon in a day. Easy. Easy. Without even trying.
This is like the best.
I don't know, what do you guys think? Out of the Steinway Tower, which is this one, this is Steinway, out of 157, 220 Central Park South with the gold top, and Central Park Tower, which one would you say is your favorite one on Billionaire's Row? I think I'm still sticking with the original one, which is 157. I've grown an obsession with the building. I think I'm sticking with 157 for sure. Hawaii says Steinway. I guess we'll throw in 432 Park Avenue. This is 432 Park. TK Porsche says Steinway. Cape Cod Saris is the big one. So Central Park Tower. That's a good one. That's also Extel. Marks is Steinway. Tony Gates is, I like Central Park Tower. You want the penthouse with the balcony. There's a few with the balcony. Chloe's is 220. Very good taste. For those of you who are saying 220 Central Park South. Very good taste in architecture. Yeah, Aston Martin Residences in Miami. I like that one too. Random YouTube viewer says 432 Park Avenue is ugly. I guess it just depends on how you perceive it. I think the building has really grown on me over the years. Western Mass Dave says Steinway, hated it at first, but it's definitely grown on me. Yeah, I mean, especially some of the full floor units with the balconies, man, those are amazing. Now, the reason why I like 157 the best is because you have a dead centered view of Central Park. You know, 220 Central Park South is not perfectly centered. Neither is any of the buildings on Billionaire's Row. But 157 is dead perfectly centered on the park. And that's just something that's almost invaluable. I think if you have a full floor unit at 157 with a dead centered view of the park, not too high up though, okay? I would get a unit. I'll tell you which one I'd get. I would get a unit at 157 that sits just above the Essex House sign. Not so high up, but you want to be sitting right on top of 150 Central Park South and the Essex House. So you can kind of see the signage, but you have an unobstructed view of the park. And somebody actually has that unit, funny enough. This is the unit right there. I would never, if I had that unit, I would never, ever, in a million years, get rid of it, ever. I would keep that thing forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. This is a cool shot from the side. All right, everybody, but we started the stream extremely late, so I do apologize for that. It's just been very busy with work. But tomorrow, okay, it is a guarantee, it is a lock. We are going to be starting right on time, 8:45. We have a lot to talk about. Again, the FOMC meeting is tomorrow, and we're getting CPI inflation data. 8:30 a.m. on the dot, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is going to be releasing headline CPI and core CPI. And then if you go to the Federal Reserve website, be sure to watch the live stream of Fed Chairman Jerome Powell as he sets the new pace of monetary policy. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining. If you enjoyed the stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new. And we will see you all right back here tomorrow. New England Crypto, Hawaii, Peter, thank you so much. Dario, Austin City Limits, all of our moderators, Always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. Victor, thank you so much. Take care, everybody.